think that if I didn't suffer a lot, then I wasn't doing something. I wasn't doing what I should be doing.
Yes.
And I think there's still kernels of truth to that. I think that a more productive way of framing that mindset is that if I'm uncomfortable, it means I'm paying attention.
Yeah, I'm
and
aware.
If I'm not uncomfortable, if I'm cruising, if I'm coasting, then I'm gonna miss something.
Exactly.
And if I'm, the way I always looked at it in my cook career is, if I feel like I'm one of the best cooks here, then I need to find another place to work because I don't want to be the smartest person.
Exactly.
I want to be pushed by those around me. And the best kitchens that I've ever worked in are the ones where you're so much more competitive with the person next to you than you are with, trying to hold yourself up against the standard.
Yes, 100%.
Chef cuisine or whatever. But that if I stay in a comfortable situation, that I'm not learning anymore. And this is a big. This restaurant and doing this, coming from a relatively high-end background, is a big exercise in that. And the food that we do is not very. It's not super technical. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And how do we hide technique so that that's not the focal point? You know what I mean? How do we make just what we're putting on the plate essential and leave the things off that aren't?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same story with every aging chef that take ingredients away and all this. There's nothing special about that.
And to do it well enough to, I'm not saying that you're trying to attract cooks, but it's like to do that well enough to be able to have a team behind you, that's pretty remarkable.
I count myself extremely lucky.
Yeah.
For the team that I do have. They're all incredibly driven, like-minded, very, very capable. I spend very little of my time, checking back behind them or. Most of what I do on a day-to-day basis is creative work and filling in gaps with prep.
Yeah.
Where they may need to be. And I'm extremely grateful for that because it allows me to think about that question a lot more of what's essential and what isn't, and why do we want to do this? Why, if I'm a cook, why would I want to work here?
Yes. Exactly.
And what ultimately I've always thought that there's three things that make cooks happy. It's family meal, music, and organization.
Yes.
If you have those three things, then you at least have the building blocks for a successful kitchen.
Yeah.
And so how do we scrutinize what we do on the front end as much as possible so that what we do on the back end, the service side of things, is fun and easy, and the least stressful part of our day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something that tasting menu restaurants will teach you, if you're paying attention, is the service is the reward.
Yeah.
It's getting through.
Prep is hard. Yeah.
The prep is hard.
Yeah.
Getting all your shit done on time is hard. The service should be the fun part.
Exactly.
You know exactly what's going to happen every 15 minutes.
Yeah. You struggled all day to have a good time.
You don't have that in an a la carte restaurant, in a restaurant like this.
No, definitely not.
You can still you still take that same lens and put it towards okay, well, what can we do on the front end to make this easier on the back end, to make this streamlined, so that it doesn't matter what the makeup of the ticket is, it's still going to take X amount of time.
Yeah.
We're still going to be able to just keep it pushing.
Keep it going.
Keep it going. And I've when it comes to how really extraordinary my team is and the talent that we have here, I've had to convince myself a few different times that, like, hey, you don't need to make excuses for these people, Yes, it's true they could all be making more money doing something else.
Yes.
Most of them can be running kitchens if they chose to. But it's okay that they work here.
Yes.
You don't have to have some kind of, like, identity crisis about it, or inferiority complex about it. I don't deserve this or whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of do. And it's a really big step for me to be able to admit something like that it does make sense that a really driven group of people want to work here, because I think that valuing the experience you have at work is it's all we have in our professional lives.
Yeah.
And it's most of what we have in our normal life. It's what we do the bulk of our hours in the day and week. And so my job is to figure out ways that we can continually be engaged in that.
I'm not bothering you guys.
No, you're good,
Mark.
bro.
You keep going, buddy.
It's all good.
And I'm really grateful to be in a position to be able to think about that rather than how are we going to make enough food for the next service.
Yeah.
Where am I going to get the things that I need to get in order to, like, just make it by.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're really living the example of, like, take care of your team and everything else sort of takes care of itself,
I try. And,
yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that I think about and I talk to my people about is, like, what can we do to I don't have the money to build a spa here.
Yeah. Exactly.
We don't have the bottom line to realistically talk about offering health insurance for the next couple of years. So that being the case, like, what can we do?
And that's a real issue. Like, a lot of people outside of the industry, mental health professionals especially, are like, well, you need to be able to afford health insurance for your team, but I think sometimes it just doesn't work out. You just don't have the money to do it, know. And I think, as grown adults coming to work here, like, they've made that choice. You can't. Sometimes you just can't do it, and that's not your fault or anybody's fault. It's just a situation you're in,
right?
I think that these days, if things don't go exactly the way it should, and, like, if you don't have health insurance, then you don't, it's just like, well, that restaurant's bad, or that, this guy is this, and it's like, you have no idea the inner workings of what's going on here. The only ones that do is you, the management, and, like, that's it,
All we can do is the best that we can with what's in front of us.
Exactly.
That's all any of us can do, and I don't. Again, I don't want to delude myself into thinking that I have some sort of impact that's greater than, what's right here in front of me. But I do recognize that the opportunity that I have here, that's in front of me, is something special.
Yeah.
And I think that it's my responsibility to think critically about how that can remain sustainable.
Yeah. Every single person I talked to in Nashville talked about this restaurant. They talked about you, and they were like, you need to go talk to Andrew, and nothing but great things to say about you and what you're doing up here. So it's definitely impacting a lot of folk.
Hey, Mark.
Hi.
What's up, Mark?
Mark, this is David.
Hey, how you doing?
David.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Cool.
So I brought ingredients. I've been here for a little while.
Okay.
But do you need me to do anything?
No, we're good. I've got the chicken braising in the oven, and it should be probably coming out pretty soon.
Okay, so there's 4 pounds of the gravy,
Okay.
a pint of black walnut oil, and 2 pounds of black walnuts.
Okay.
In a paper bag.
Great.
Sitting on your counter.
I'm going to do the farce tomorrow,
Okay.
and we'll get that cooked off, and we'll just have day of stuff.
Have you done the meringues yet?
Yeah, meringues are done.
Okay, so
Pralines done.
Saturday I'll come and put the marjolaines together.
Okay, we can do that. I'd like to get Johnny involved with it too. He's super into it.
Okay.
So yeah, the
What
three of
time
us can.
Will he be in? I've got somebody's invited me to, I'm not sure if it's lunch or dinner at 3 o'clock Saturday.
He'll be in at noon.
Okay.
So anywhere between 12:30 and 1:30
Okay.
or whatever.
All right.
Will be good.
All right. Well, I'm going to split.
Cool.
And I think caught up with all my email.
Well,
All right.
hey, thanks for saying hey.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's good to see you.
Just got a question from Charlie Apple, see if you can answer. He says, have you ever made a matsutake puree? Do you have any tricks to keep it white? He's trying to make a matsutake chestnut soup.
I've never made a matsutake puree. But the trick that I have had with white purees in the past, an old Mcleod's trick, is cream cheese.
Okay.
And so like cauliflower, turnip, whatever. If you're doing it on the stove, you obviously want to have a cartouche.
Yeah.
That you keep everything super white, and then when you blend it, just a couple of knobs of cream cheese not only helps with the color, but like you're getting the added benefit of all the hydrocolloids that jam into cream cheese to stabilize your so it's kind of a fucking backdoor.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I'll tell him that. So, well, Chef, this was fucking awesome.
Well, thank you.
And I can't wait to have dinner tonight. It's gonna be dope. I'm actually coming with a friend who I haven't seen in 10 years.
That's awesome.
So it's great to see him, and he brews beer here. The name of the brewery is escaping me, but I'm actually going to go over there right now, grab a little tour, do a little podcast with him.
What brewery does he work at?
Yeah, the name's escaping me. But he'll
There's
be
so
here.
many of them around.
He said he's actually met you a couple times. He's like, oh, are you meeting Andrew? And I'm like, oh, yeah. He's like, I met him a few times. He's a pretty cool guy. So I was like, cool.
Very cool.
But yeah, I'll put this out in the next few weeks, and we'll get you out there, and hopefully we can get more people up to the restaurants to see what you're doing up here. I mean, as an interest of food, like you don't really think about Asheville as a spot to come, or drive.
I definitely thought that between the time that I left and the time that I came back, that we would have made a little bit more progress.
Yeah.
And I think we will. I think that Asheville will be like a more publicized food town.
Yeah.
But to me, like my goals when I was in my mid early 20s versus my goals now are so much different. Like what would make me happy is a restaurant like this being successful and sustainable, and me having a little space where I fucking hang salami and make 3 kinds of sandwiches.
Yeah.
Sell some salami to some people, and everybody can leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what's gonna make me happy. Is being an old man throwing around meats.
Fuck yeah, bro. Let's get that sounds like the dream for anyone, to be honest. If you can add a beach to that, I think that'd be my dream.
I think you'd be surprised at how few meat nerds there really are.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. After
it's a small community.
There was definitely like a huge wave. Like when I was coming up, it was like, this is what you do. Get Michael Ruhlman, you do it, and then it's like
those books are fucking trash.
There you go. Michael Ruhlman's books, trash.
Have caused a lot of people to either get sick or really dicey.
Really? Okay. Well, I think that's a conversation for another time. But Michael Ruhlman, if you're out there, fuck you. Signing off.